Hello everyone. So I'm on a binge of making collage, which I mentioned in my last video, or maybe not. See these papers? I made all these papers recently over the decades. Some are digital, some are not. I made these papers and I'm testing them. I want to see how happy they are together. And so what I did, because I ran out of large 16 by 20 collages, art boards, I just use those cheap art boards. These I bought at the dollar store, but I made these. So one collage, hold on, 2, and 3, using all of these papers with a bunch left over, enough to maybe make another collage left over. And that's what we're going to do. So much fun. Join me. Let's make some collages together, okay? See ya. Hi guys. So I just did a really amateur move, but my iPhone was full and it wasn't recording. So I've chopped a few things up here. Let me go back to a little bit of the beginning. All right. So here's a contact sheet. I've got a bunch of new papers here. I'm working in a cool and a warm palette, so I've got violets and everything, and there's some images here that have been in my life for a long time. This is one of them, one of my favorite images. Got a couple of things that I already started chopping up while I was on camera, wherever it goes. This quilted thing, this vintage thing, this is buried in there. So let me just show you the papers that I have. These papers all make me very happy, and they seem to be pretty happy with each other. There's the piece it was cut off of. So most of these, let's see, there's a lot of these are my original collages that I designed ages ago, some things that I drew. Anyways, so what I've done is I've pulled out 3 11 by 17, no, 11 by 14 canvases, and I want to collage on this, on each of, I want to have several collages. I'm going to make 3. Yeah, I'm trying to make it easy on myself, so I make 3. So what I started doing is slicing these up. I was looking for things that were happy together, and these things are 100% happy together. Like so happy. Anyways, so there's a lot of paper here for this many collages. So I'm going to, again, I feel like I need to apologize for this, but it is my channel and I guess I get to make what I want. But I'm going to go with the grid design again because I'm having a little bit of nerves about this, and maybe it's because I'm personally invested in the papers because I'm offering them to you guys, but all I know is that I'm feeling, nervous about this. So, so I'm going to go with a grid design. And what I started to do before I realized my camera wasn't working is just started slicing some papers up into 3-inch strips, just 3 inches because it's a good number. So I'm going to continue to do that. I don't know why. Somebody must have sent me a psychic message saying, check your camera. So I'm going to play with these, chop them up, see what happens. I don't know if I'm going to talk. You'll be able to tell because I'll be talking. All right. Can you see this? Can you see me rifling through these papers? I've got it set on a large scale, but maybe it would help you to watch me rifle. What I'm looking for, see, this is the challenge that I have in terms of what my eye is happy with. There's not a lot of contrast from all these things. If these were all grayscale, they'd disappear into one another. So I need to get something lighter in here, and that little strip right there makes me happy. So does that. But I feel like I might end up needing lighter papers. This is a work in progress. Make sure that they're pretty when I put them out there for you. Okay. I get my chopper and I'll just keep chopping. Maybe I can go mono. Maybe I can go monochromatic. I think I'll use gel. Not for any particular reason. Just thinking it's going to get on my hands less. Because I'm usually encased with glue by the end of these sessions. And any of you who have ever worked with it, it stays on. It takes days. If you've got enough of it on your hands, it takes days for it to go away. Okay, I don't know why, if you're looking for curiosity about why I started there, and it's because I feel like I have to start somewhere. So I'm going to, I think there is just as good a place as any. Catalyst wedge, my forever tool that I will never regret owning. And you won't either. Just very useful. Just put it down. Drop that thing. Let's try this. This is a spinning, I have a spinning canvas. So I buy my canvases, or I bought my canvases. I bought these canvases at the dollar store. And they are a little warpy. So what I find is if I work on my gel plate, it holds it in place. It does put a stain on the back side of it, but whatever. Holds it in place and makes it so I don't have to fight it. Just want to get some glue on the overhang side on my last video done with I'm not going to be able to just pull that up like I used to. All right, that's maybe a disadvantage. Yeah, I found that because I was trying so hard to keep my head out of the camera that I ended up leaving spaces between white spaces between, trying to be so exacting, which, doesn't really work. Not in collage anyways. Well, you know what? I make it work. I usually keep just a damp cloth around. These papers, I'm using very inexpensive, the cheapest, lowest quality copy paper, but I got a great comment the other day. A woman said, those papers absorb a lot of the ink. Those inexpensive papers absorb a lot of the ink. So you might think about getting better quality paper because the top is smoother and the ink from the printer does not sink into the finish. I'm making the words up. She was much more articulate. It was obvious she knew exactly what she was talking about. I'm trying to do a couple things, keep my lines in line and not have white spaces and make sure everything's happy. These are lovely together. Oh my gosh. I love those. Where I want to go with this. Okay. That lovely thing wants to go there. I just know it. I'm going to give this just a little squirt because I want to wrap it around 2 areas. Yeah. That is definitely much easier to wrap when it's slightly damp. Okay, I'm going to let this one hang out on the side, somewhere by the side. And I'm going to start on this one. That's the advantage of working with more than one collage at a time. When you get stuck, you just move on. All right, now I feel like I need to start over again with my papers. That's fun. Okay, got some things. I'll start with this one because it's cute. Let's see where I'm going to cut that. Where are you going to live? You're going to be the starting point. Just see how things lay out here. I don't know why, but I'm cutting it. And I'm just going to keep going with 3 inches so I don't have to think, because the other day, whatever collage I was working on, geez, it's high school math all over again. I can't take it. I want that off. Look at how cute these slices are. It's pretty. It's pretty. Okay, I'm going to glue a few things down. Interesting to see how I integrate all the papers into this group and which ones are strong. Because one of the things that I've said before, but it's not my quote, because I need guidance on it, is that if everything wants to be the star, then nobody is the star. Well, I know that woman who commented about the paper, she's probably right. I think the reason I've always preferred this junk paper, besides cost, but certainly cost is one of them, is that it's so thin, it behaves well. It glues down nicely. In my last video, I kept on picking the canvas up, and it would be right underneath your nose. You'd be able to see the hangnails on my hands. Doesn't really work that well. Okay, that is quite pretty. And this, especially with this, I've got this on my camera set up at the, I call it the pool noodle setting because I don't know if it's like wide angle, but it makes it, the camera can see more of what my desktop. I don't know what the setting is. I'm a boomer. We're not very techy. No, I like it that way. It's upside down. This piece of, this is one of my favorite patterns. It's actually a poem I wrote called The Color of Your Eyes. It's one of my favorite poems I've ever written. And it was written for my son's father. It was sort of one of those, you don't see me. You don't know, you don't even know I'm here. All you're doing is looking at your dogs and trying to avoid my gaze. And yeah. So what I did was I wrote it and I typed it and I made an image out of it. And then I erased some of the image so that it looked partial. And I was trying to recreate something I'd found on Polyvore. And I did a very suitable job. But he doesn't know I wrote a poem for him. Those colors are lovely. Now I will get, I believe it's that, but I'm going to do this first because I love those blues and purples next to that. I need to get, see this color? I got to find that. I may have to recolor one of those sheets that I have there. I don't think it's going to be too dark. It is like 1/16 of an inch too short. But I can deal with that with magic marker or just wrapping something around the edge. Okay, that area right there makes me quite happy. Now, is there a way for me to bring any of that color down here? Well, that's pretty. Let me get rid of this tiny little shattered edge. Oh, yeah. That's the same little piece of poetry. It's called The Color of Your Eyes. And it's in here as well because I use it all the time because it's lovely. So, you know, I only did digital art for probably until 2020. I played around with gel printing a little bit in 2014 and then put it away for years. And in 2020, when we were all locked in our houses like friggin' prisoners, I started using actual paints and printing again. So my experience with color is limited to choosing colors digitally as opposed to being able to create the colors physically, that's two different skill sets for sure. So I would consider myself to be relatively skilled when it comes to picking colors that go together digitally because you've got the whole range and you can Photoshop. You can Photoshop them if you're not a purist. Okay, so this is, all right, and these have very different characters too. Okay, so there's this one so far, and there's this one so far. Maybe I shouldn't give up on this one yet. I'm not giving up, I'm just thinking I might, yeah, I'm going to just stick it out for a few more minutes, and then I may move on to the next canvas and see what kind of start I can get on that. So these are pretty together, but does it make that big purple thing too big versus this, where I've got a little bit of not the same pattern versus more textured. I'm gonna do this one. I'm gonna do it. And you know, my routine is if it's wrong, I can cover it up because I've already covered up several things that I thought were done. Now I'm going to get all tangled up in whether this should go up or down. I like this because I like it that these are very different. I don't mind that shape that carries up. But I like that shape better. All right, I'm doing it. Yeah, I like how that just breaks up this, I do like that. Okay, now I'm going to let this one contemplate the meaning of life. That one I really like. This, I like them both. Should I start on the third one? Let's do that. Let's start on the third one, and then I'll have a good start on all three. See what I haven't started with. I've got this sheet. Sorry for my head and my arms and all my body parts. I know you don't care, but I do. Okay. So I've chopped that out, but haven't used it. Okay, I like that. This has got some quiet that could be useful. Let's just chop it up, shall we? That's some pretty quiet. Blue. Do it. Don't be scared, Sheree. Don't be scared. Okay, that makes me happy. This is the only color like that. What friends could join it? Maybe a scooch of this. Oh, that's got some pretty stuff. All right, let us begin, shall we? I do lose those hearts, and I think they're kind of cute. Try a different beginning. This is a good start. More this group. All right. I'm going to start with this purple on the bottom. I'm going to cut it. Let me just see something. Oh, ruler. Oh, ruler, where are you? You know, I must like the number 3 because all of these, where I want to cut them, is 3. It's 3 inches. Look at that. Right down the middle. Come here. Okay. This goes here. This is useful. It's got a lot of colors in it. I want to get these rings in there. It's a good paper. I'm going to contemplate. I'm looking at these three collages. Oh, that one's stuck down. Anyways, I'm looking at these three collages. And I have used none of this. I've cut this blue sheet. Everything's on the floor. I've cut the blue sheet, but I have not used it. And what I'm fishing around for now that I don't have is what I have in my hand right now, which is gray, neutral, something to, like, I love the way that looks with all of this, particularly this toned down version. I cut out that little piece there, but I've got some gray in here that I think is going to, look at it, adds things. It adds something to all of them. So I'm rethinking. And that's what's useful about this process, is finding out, this is pretty, but it doesn't solve any problems for me. But I suspect this might. So we'll find out. I feel like tucking that little strip in there. Maybe I'll continue it across. A couple of people in the comments of my last video asked questions about how do the downloads work. And so basically the way that it works, you do have to have, well, you don't, what the particular person said specifically is that they did not have a printer. They have an iPad and they don't have a printer. They wanted to know if I could mail the papers to them, and I am not nearly organized enough in my life to be able to make that promise to anybody. This little piece that's left over from something, I'm going to glue it down because it makes me happy. Come here, you. So anyways, if you don't have a printer, or you don't have a, I don't know, a printer that you think is good enough, whatever, you know, if you don't have technology, depending upon where you are, you'll have different names for your office stores, but you can have your you can put the download on your phone and take it to, around here we have Staples and Office Max and stuff like that. You could do that. You could take it to any copy shop and have them printed. And I don't know what they charge per page. They do charge per page, but it's cheaper than getting a printer. And easy to use the technology that you already have. It's got that feeling again that I wasn't recording, but I am. Oh, this is printed on both sides. Oh, I remember. I've got that setting on my printer. And I do it when I'm doing, well, that adds something fun to this. I use it when I'm printing information so that I can create like a little book or contact sheets of all my work. And contact sheets are less important to me now that I have this program called Eagle. I'd like to show that to you guys one time. It's actually pretty impressive. Okay, that has given me happiness. I'm going to let this dry for a minute and go back to, which one? Well, I'll tell you, this little pattern is happy on every page. You don't need a lot of it. Maybe what I do is do a half sheet of this, because you don't need a lot of something like this. It's All right, I'm going to think about that. I'm going to put that right on my desk to remind me. Okay, what's happening next? Maybe back to this one. I'm taking this blue and I'm moving it away because I think I'm replacing it. Do it. Stop thinking. There. Do it quiet. Sure, E. All right, let's see. Let's get a lot of glue on the end of that so it'll wrap. Pretty. Chopping this off, cutting off that black and white, and you can find another home for it because that, according to me, I like the way that is happy next to each other. I like the way that blends into that. I don't know the design rules, guys. Never learned them. Never went to school for it. I was the kid that moved my bedroom around every week. So I got into interior design first, and then I got into kitchen design, and then I got into product design. No, pottery design, then product design. Okay. That's a tiny little strip, but I'm doing it. I'm going to stick this tiny little strip right there because I am. But I like what it does. It's almost like Kilroy looking up over the top of something, just peeking out. Switching gears, I'm going back to this one. What about purple? What about bringing that color up? It's too busy. Something's got to go in that hole. But I wanted to carry that line across. I'm doing it. I'm doing a little tiny slice of pie. Might be too big. We'll see. It would be probably not correct to have only one piece of this color. Well, you know, we'll find out if it's correct or not, because I'm getting ready to do it. I'll just leave it there for a minute. We'll see how. Maybe I can bring something of that down here. All right, that's just going to sit there for a minute. I think I got one little corner left. And now it tells me I need to get just some slices of that warm in there, because it does break it up. Okay. I'm going back in. Getting down to the end of my papers here. But I've managed to get, so far, 3 collages that are kind of fun together. Don't mind that. That's too grungy for where I'm going with this. Nope. That could work for me. Okay, so I'm going to take this. I like it's got this yellow in it. It's got some of the blue. No. Trust yourself. Trust yourself, Cherie. Okay, I've got that there. This is looking done. I love it that this has lines that show me where to cut. I don't know if I'll regret it, but it's such a tiny little detail. Okay. And what about a tiny little surprise someplace else? Nope. No, it don't. All right, so I'm going to call this done for this minute, because it's covered. I don't know if that means it's finished. Let's finish this one, and then I'll do this one. Okay, that's a little bit of a restful place for the eye. What's going to happen up here? Kind of makes me happy too. One more little corner here. What's going to live here, guys? Possibly you. I like that round shape. Possibly that. Nay. Okay, so now I get to decide if I've been successful or not. Okay, I've tidied up, and I wouldn't call some of these 100% done, but done enough for this project. So, trying to see if I have a favorite. Let me just pile these up. I'd like to do some more. I'd like to do a little more. I like the way that that corner is filled with small patterns. I don't mind that. I like the little bit of yellow here. This yellowish green balances that out. These white dots are a nice surprise in this shape. I like that. Really like that. This one might be my favorite. I like the way the gray quiets things down. The only thing that I, because of my urge for linear, I almost wish I had done something there, but it doesn't bother me. I'll eventually cover it up. I know I'll eventually cover that up. And then this is eventually going to be changed, probably before these get posted. But I think I've done a pretty good job of creating 3 pieces of art out of all of that paper. And look at, this is all I've got left. Little slices of not very much purple, but this whole area here didn't make it into any of it. That doesn't mean it couldn't make it into another collage. Everything that had this is all gone. Just these 2 little pieces of black and white. That's a really useful little accent, huh? Most of the textures are gone. Yeah, I did a pretty good job of using all of these colors, which is awesome. Didn't use as much of the blue as I wish I had, but you know what? This wants to be in this. It wants to be in here, and it will. I will eventually work it all in. All right, so that's what I got. This was fun. This was fun. 3 little collages without having to, when you get stumped, you just put one of them aside. Yeah. Very fun. So thank you for hanging out with me. These are not listed for sale yet. When I do list them for sale, I'll let everybody know. And then I'll probably send out an email. So if you're on my email list, then you'll get a notification that these are on the website. It's a project to get them on my website. It's another project. And I'd like to release 6, 2 cool, 2 neutral, and 2 warm. So this was fun. Thank you. Thank you for hanging out. See you later. Bye.